Angie, and you're watching Dante's Vaccination.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Teofimo, he finally makes it official who he's going to be facing next. And it's going to be George Kambosos. Check out this clip.
My mandatory, that would be my next fight, George Kambosos Jr. Reason why also because the IBF is very strict. No matter how much they love me, no matter how much of a great champion I am for them, if I don't fight my mandatory, I have to give up my IBF lightweight world title. Obviously, I am not going to do that. I worked my butt off. I'm defending all my belts, undisputed, and that will be my next fight.
Okay, guys. So first of all, the IBF is not that strict because we already know that there have been plenty of IBF champions that have avoided their mandatories for over a year. Kell Brook is one of them. Kell Brook was able to continue to do voluntary defenses. He did not have to fight his mandatory. Jamal Charlo was Golovkin's mandatory for 2 years and Golovkin still didn't fight him. Charlo was Canelo's mandatory for almost 2 years and he never got that fight. Matter of fact, Anthony Joshua has a mandatory right now. It's Usyk. And Anthony Joshua is fighting Tyson Fury next. So we know what Teo just said about him having to fight his mandatory or being stripped is untrue. In fact, if Lopez truly believed that all this time, why was he constantly telling the public that he's going to fight Devin Haney next? Why was he saying, I'm sending contracts to both of them, and whoever signs the contract first, that's who I'm going to fight? If he always believed that he had to fight his mandatory or he'll be stripped, he would have never even been talking about fighting Devin Haney. He would have been saying this from the very beginning. He would have been telling people right after he beat Lomachenko, guys, I'm fighting my mandatory next. I have no choice but to fight him because the IBF is very strict and they will strip me of my title if I don't fight my mandatory. Now, even if that was a lie, that would have been a better lie, wouldn't it? It wouldn't have been a hypocritical lie. So Teo, he also did a video with Fight Hype where he was once again saying that he's the undisputed champion. He was showing off certificates that the WBC president gave him and saying that this proves that I am the undisputed champion. Guys, let me tell you something right now. Only in the sport of boxing can someone just make up a belt. Matter of fact, make up a belt and tell people, by the way, guys, this is not even a belt. It's not a belt. It's not a championship, right? But then once he's facing a dilemma where you have Devin Haney, who is the actual WBC champion, and you have this guy who has the franchise belt that you said is not even a belt, now he has two options. One is to tell the truth or keep telling the truth, which is this was never a belt, or he can change the rules on the fly and say, you know what? I'm the WBC president. And everyone, especially old media, they're all going to go with whatever I say because they know that it's going to be to benefit fighters on the hope list. So I can make up whatever I want to make up. I could tell people right now, you know, that real WBC belt that Muhammad Ali had and all these other champions had, that was really actually never a real belt, guys. Now the franchise belt is the real belt. So now if you have this franchise belt, you're the real champion, right? And this is exactly what he just did. So if we're to listen to this logic, that means that everyone right now that's the WBC champion, if the WBC president wanted to, he can tell any of his WBC title holders right now, I'm sorry, something just came up. You're no longer the real champion. We've decided to make so-and-so the WBC franchise champion. This is what he's saying. But guys, you have to understand, this is not a video game. You can't just go to settings and change the rules, reset, start all over. It doesn't work that way. You ain't gonna never see nothing like this happen in the NFL, the NBA. where all of a sudden they tell the Super Bowl champions, you guys are no longer the Super Bowl champions. We decided to make up a ring to give out to someone or a championship to give out to someone, and now you guys are no longer the real Super Bowl champions. It doesn't work that way, guys. I mean, this situation is just so hypocritical. Because I was just telling you guys, when Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell, Old Media, Max Kellerman, Chris Mannix, they all said to Ryan Garcia, knowing that he was Devin Haney's mandatory, they told him those belts are meaningless. Max Kellerman told Devin Haney in an interview, belts don't really mean anything now. Yeah, you got belts, you got a belt, but belts don't really mean anything now. That's what they tell Devin Haney when he has a belt. But when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, Max Kellerman and everyone else in Old Media, they're making this all about the belts. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me that you have actual reporters that already knows that the WBC franchise is not a real belt, knows that the WBC franchise has no ranking system. You have no mandatories. I mean, I don't even know if they pay sanctioning fees for holding this belt. Old Media also knows that when you go on any ranking system, from BoxRec to any other major boxing website, everyone shows the WBC, everyone shows Devin Haney as a WBC champion. I haven't seen one ranking system where it shows Teofimo Lopez as the real WBC champion. Reporters are supposed to have integrity, and they're supposed to point out the discrepancies. They're supposed to ask the tough questions. But the problem is, because boxing is so racially divided, Old Media are not going to ask real questions that they may get real answers to if the answers don't fit their agenda. See, the saddest part about all of this is because the reason why Old Media and Teofimo Lopez are so adamant about pushing these belts, pushing this undisputed narrative, they're actually using that as some type of twisted justification for Teo to actually avoid Devin Haney. And we know this is fact because Max even told Teofimo this. Max told him, you're undisputed. You can fight whoever you want. Last time I checked, being undisputed does not mean you're retired. Only when you're retired, you can do whatever you want to do. You ain't got to fight nobody. The pressure is off of you. But when you're a 23-year-old champion, how is it possible any media members are telling a 23-year-old champion, you don't have to fight anybody that you don't want to fight. You can fight whoever you want. They are literally telling him, you can fight the easiest competition if you want. Why? Because you're the king of the division. Do you guys ever remember anybody saying to Floyd Mayweather after he beat Diego Corrales, Janero Hernandez, Angel Manfredi at the age of 23 or around 23? Do you guys remember anyone saying to him, you could fight whoever you want from this point on? For the next 10 or 15 years, you could fight whoever you want. And really, when they say you could fight whoever you want, that just means don't fight any of these dangerous black guys. Don't fight these black guys. You don't have to fight them. We're still going to call you the best. You could fight whoever you want. We're still going to call you the best. You know why? Because you already beat Lomachenko. For the next 10 years, you can fight whoever you want, champ, and we will still call you undisputed. Something else that doesn't make sense. Teofimo is talking about how he would have got stripped and he had to take this because this was his mandatory. But he's also been saying recently that he only plans on fighting maybe 2 more times at the division, including his next fight. So really, after this, he'll probably only fight 1 or 2 more times after that, and then he's going to move up in weight. So why wouldn't you go after the most relevant, significant opponents before you move up? When you could have easily put this mandatory to the side, or you could have easily just vacated the belt, because you're gonna vacate all the belts anyway when you move up to 140. And according to Lopez, he's planning on moving up very, very soon. If you guys are looking at these images on the screen right now and you don't know who these fighters are, from the left to the right, you got Josh Taylor you got George Kambosos, and then you got Jose Ramirez. Now, Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, they're supposed to fight sometime around May. Which brings me to something else that Lopez didn't mention in this interview. Because before this announcement, Teo was telling us he's going to fight Kambosos and then he'll fight Devin Haney next. What I noticed in this interview, he never even talked about fighting Devin Haney next. Never even mentioned it. He kept trashing Devin in the interview, but he never talked about fighting Devin Haney, which makes no sense. And this is the main reason why it makes no sense for Lopez to keep promoting himself as undisputed if you're not willing to get in the ring with Devin Haney and really prove to everyone you're undisputed. On top of that, there's no way that Teo can be undisputed because you guys have to think about what the word undisputed even means. It means there is no one disputing the fact that this man has all the belts. And clearly there is a dispute. Clearly there's a dispute, right? If we have a debate right now on who the greatest fighter of all time is, if we're not all agreeing with each other, then you can't say the guy that you chose as the greatest fighter of all time is the undisputed best fighter of all time. Does that make sense? Because we're disputing who the best really is. The only undisputed title that Teofimo has is the NBF undisputed title. Now he can change that whenever he wants, but currently that's the title that he's holding right now. I told you guys before, Teofimo, he's been talking about fighting the winner of Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor. So once again, it looks like it's going to be NBF season for Lopez. He's most likely not going to fight a Tank Davis. Matter of fact, recently, Tank Davis's trainer, they've been pushing for the Lopez fight. Now that they know that Ryan is not going to take the fight, Calvin Ford, Tank's trainer, he said, we really want the Teofimo Lopez fight. And we know these are the fights that the real boxing fans want. Clearly, Mike Tyson, he told Teofimo to his face when Teo was even hinting that he might be fighting Kambosos next. Mike cut him off and he said, no, man, the Devin Haney fight needs to be next. And he said that with authority. And he said it with so much authority that he had Teo saying, yeah, it's gonna be next. Yeah, we're gonna fight him. And then as soon as he left that show, he started doing interviews talking about what has Devin done? I'm not fighting him. It ain't gonna happen, etc. So I'm sure they should be announcing a date pretty soon when it comes to the Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos fight. Now, from what I understand, the fight is not going to be in Australia, and I cannot wait to see how much Teofimo is going to make for this fight, especially if it's going to be in the States. Because this was one of the main reasons they kept saying it makes more sense to fight Kambosos because we're going to make more money fighting Kambosos. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Devin Haney, they offered Teofimo $4 million to take the fight. Remember, Teo made $1.2 million against Lomachenko, and Devin Haney offered him $4 million to take the fight. Just think about it. If they were willing to offer him $4 million up front, that means if Teo would have did some serious negotiating, he probably could have even got that bumped up to $5 million. So it's just really hard for me to believe that Teofimo is going to fight George Kambosos in the States, where it's going to be either no fans or just a couple of fans. And you're telling me that he's going to make more than $4 million? That is hard to believe. I'm telling you right now, if we find out that Teofimo is making less than $4 million to fight Kambosos, that is going to make Teofimo look so much worse. Because once again, this is what they've been saying for the longest. Why would I fight Devin Haney when I can fight Kambosos and make way more money, or just more money? We should find out real soon. When the date and the location is announced, we should find out really soon how much both fighters are going to get paid for this fight. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. Contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. And when you go on their pages, you can see for yourself what these guys look like before. I mean, these guys are literally hair magicians. I've never seen anything like this before, but all I can tell you guys is this is a serious game changer for us men. So make sure you get in contact with Scalptus and Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.